Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be comparing the Subaru Ascent to the Kia Telluride. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Signer Kia here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this Telluride, and to the Nate Wade Subaru here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this Ascent. I'll include a link to both of their inventories in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood of the Ascent, we have a turbocharged 2.4 liter flat 4-cylinder that goes through a CVT automatic. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 260 horsepower and then 277 pound-feet of torque. Under the hood of the Telluride, we have a naturally aspirated 3.8 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 24 on the highway, with power outputs being 291 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the Ascent, you guys can see we've got these pretty sharp looking headlights, and then notice the chrome here on the grille that goes with the Subaru logo, and then I like this here at the bottom. It actually kind of looks like exhaust tips almost, but on the front end. We do have fog lights here on the front of the Ascent as well, and this green paint pops. Now over on the Telluride, it's definitely got a boxier design, right? You guys can see, especially with the hood, and then notice how vertical the grille is. We've got the new style of headlights here on the Telluride, but notice with this, we don't have any fog lights there at the bottom, which is interesting. But regardless, let me know which design you think looks better. Now around the side here, our tire and wheel setup on both of these is 245, 50, 20 in the front and in the rear, so it's identical, but the design is way different. Look at the silver trim here at the Subaru versus the Telluride, how it's kind of all darker, and then the overall design of the Telluride is way different. Notice that they both actually have the plastic fender flares and then the molding that continues all along the side. And then look at the mirror difference. You can see body painted here on the Telluride, whereas on the Ascent, notice how it's like silver in color, and then you guys see with the door handles and the difference there. And then again, look at the body lines. The Telluride is definitely like sharper, boxier, whereas with the Ascent, it kind of flows more. But regardless, here's your full side view on the Ascent. And then here's your full side view on the Telluride. Now here are our key fobs, that was funny. Anyways, you guys can see the Subaru key fob, normal Subaru key fob, and then this is Kia's new key fob for some of their vehicles. It's pretty cool looking. It's got remote start function built in, and then when you unlock the car, it actually illuminates as well. But yeah, both practical. So starting with the cargo area with the Telluride, you guys can see there's a decent amount of storage space behind the third row. And then we do have more storage underneath, and we can fold down the third row. You just got to pull this strap and then throw that forward, and then that'll give you even more storage space overall. Now with the Subaru, it looks like it's actually a little bit more spacious. It's not a massive amount, but it looks like there's a little bit more space behind the third row. And then with the third row folded down, that obviously increases the space even more so. And then something to note, it's got the same little strap system where you've got straps to basically pull the seats forward and all that. And then when it comes to rear style, you guys can see again with the Telluride, it's got that kind of like boxier type design, whereas with the Ascent, it's got your more like traditional crossover design where it flows a little bit more. But seeing them next to each other, let me know which one you think looks better. So sitting in the second row of the Telluride, legroom's really good. You got a storage pocket here, some cup holder action, got a little 12 volt down below, and USB there on the side of the seat. It's interesting. I also have a sunshade here, which is pretty cool. And then look at like the trim here on the door panel. And by the way, headroom is great. I got my own climate controls here at the top too. Just another nice feature. And look at these seats. Very luxurious looking. And then here is the third row of the Telluride. My legs are pushed up a little bit, but overall it's pretty comfortable back here. Got another USB, and then I've got plenty of headroom. Now in the second row of the Ascent, I feel like there's a little bit less legroom, but it's still comfortable. You can see a storage pocket here. Got a sunshade, just like the Telluride, and then look at like the wood trim, and then all of the padding. I think that looks great. And then you guys can see with our climate controls, we got heated seats here in the back, and then you got a bunch of charging ports. And then look at these seats. I guess we got a brown theme going on today with these vehicles, but yeah, really cool looking seats. And then in the third row of the Ascent, yeah, it feels like there's just a little bit less space back here. And then you guys can see cup holder action, and then you got some little charging port action. But then headroom, yeah, also a little bit less headroom. Now at the front of the Telluride, you guys can see the door panel design. Big stuff, we got blind spot monitoring and everything, but close that, start her up. That's pretty fancy. Here's our steering wheel. which has adaptive cruise control. You got lane keep assist as well, and you know, pretty cool design. And you guys saw full digital gauge cluster here in the center. And then notice we've got a bunch of different drive modes here that we can go into as well. And then with the camera system, we got a backup camera here, which trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And then as for the rest of the infotainment screen, response time is really good with this. Frankly, it's pretty dang easy to use. Notice we can control the rear climate with this, which is pretty cool. And then look at the dash, like nice padding there, and then you can see the trim. Again, looks very high quality, and then you got like your radio controls in the center with the climate controls, heat steering wheel button here as well, which is pretty cool. And then we've got this for heated and cooled seats, and then little storage area that also has the wireless phone charging pad. And then look at the shifter. And of course, we've got like grab handles right here. Drive mode select with our center locker. You can see all the controls here for like your auto stops or auto hold, all that. Some cup holders, and then here's the center console. And then by the way, here are the front seats. You can see the X line right there. But look at the design all down the center. And this one does have a sunroof here at the top. Now here's the door panel with the Ascent. You guys can see here with the material use. Look at the wood trim, and then memory seats. Also blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. But start her up. So here is the steering wheel. Notice we've got adaptive cruise control with lane keep assist, heat steering wheel button on the steering wheel. Got paddle shifters here on the back as well. And then here's the gauge cluster. Notice mostly analog, but do have that screen there in the center which you can scroll through to see different bits of info on the vehicle itself. And if we pop it into reverse, got a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And then here at the bottom, you guys can see dual zone climate, heated and cooled seats with this as well. And then notice the climate controls there on either side if you don't use that little portion. And then you guys can see the volume controls on top of that. But if we press the little vehicle button here, notice it'll pull up with some stuff like our drive modes. So you do have a few different drive modes that we can go into with this. But overall, easy infotainment system to use. I feel like they did a good job with just making this user friendly. And then you guys can see with our little storage area down below. And then this is just to pop on with the camera. So you got like a 360 view, which is pretty cool. I like how it does a little animation. That's kind of fun. Anyways, shifter here. You guys can see parking brake, and then some cup holder action. And then look at the center console. Pretty spacious indeed. And then the storage space above the glove box, and then there's the glove box itself. And then this actually has the rear view camera mirror, which is a nice feature. And then full panoramic sunroof here. Now when it comes to pricing, the Ascent stickers for about $49,000, whereas the Telluride stickers for about $47,000. Let's drive them. So setting off in the Telluride first, and then we'll drive off in the Ascent second. First off, seats are very comfortable in the Telluride. And I do want to answer something first. I know some people are going to tell me this comparison is not perfect, that I should have compared a more loaded up Telluride, but pricing is really close with these. Again, it's like $2,000 price difference between them, so I feel like that's pretty much as comparable as it gets. Ride quality is really good. I love the Telluride's new gauge cluster setup. I really like it. I know some people aren't about the big screens, but you know, I think if done properly, like in this situation, I think it works really well. Suspension's really comfortable. Engine smooth with this 8-speed automatic. It's got pretty good torque too. And this definitely has like, you can tell you've like, it's hard to explain, but like they've engineered this to have more of a truck-like feel in terms of your seating position. Like you kind of sit a little bit higher up, have more of that kind of king of the road type feel compared to, well, we'll compare that to the Ascent in a little bit, but compared to most crossovers, right? So that's a big difference with this. And well, we can't see past this truck, so we're not going to go. Okay, we're good. So we're going to get our acceleration here. I mean, that's pretty dang good. That's pretty dang good. This V6 punches. This V6 definitely punches. Yeah, going to the train tracks, suspension does really well too. So I'm impressed overall. Yeah, I like how this, I really do like how this drives. So summing things up with the Telluride, I think it looks cool on the outside. I think it drives really well. This is obviously not a luxury car technically, but it has a lot of luxury car driving dynamics. And I think that kind of, I don't know, I think that's a big positive with the Telluride. So we'll pop over to the Ascent. Okay, so setting off in the Ascent after the Telluride, and honestly, they have a pretty different feel to them. Again, they're both, you know, 3-row unibody crossovers, but yeah, there's a different feel. So this feels like a smaller vehicle, like it drives like a smaller vehicle compared to the Telluride. So I think that is interesting. Actually, we're gonna be going this way. Yeah, we don't want to be stuck in that line of cars over there. So can definitely tell it's turbocharged, that's for sure. Can definitely tell it's turbocharged. But with that being said, ride quality is really good. So I think they're both really solid, actually. This might be a little bit more comfortable over the bumps than the Telluride by a slight margin, but they're both really comfortable. Seat comfort on this is also good as well. Yeah, these cars have such different themes, and so I didn't expect them to be as like close as they are, but I'm sure that with the acceleration here, this will really show a difference. Oh yeah. So I wouldn't say this necessarily feels like slower than the Telluride. They actually feel pretty dang close, just a different feel. This, like, you're riding a wave of torque, whereas the Telluride, right, you got torque initially and then it kind of goes over to horsepower. That's just always what happens with naturally aspirated engines again versus turbocharged engines, and CVT versus I cannot talk, torque converter automatic. There we go, there we go. Did not die there. So yeah, it's interesting, the driving dynamic difference with them. So setting things up with this comparison, you know, I know a lot of people compare these because that's what the Google search results say, but I feel like these vehicles are for two different buyers. So Telluride, that is a really good value if you are looking for a luxury car experience and you don't want to pay for a luxury car, because, like, again, that was designed by someone who worked at Range Rover. So you see, like, there's a lot of Range Rover-esque stuff inside and out. So if you're looking for like a, again, not a luxury car, but kind of feels and looks like a luxury car, that's what Telluride gives you. Whereas Subaru, on the other hand, gives you a lot of value for the money. You get a lot of features with this car, a car that drives amazingly well. And, you know, I'm sure people in the comment section below are going to talk about how Subarus aren't reliable, because you always get those people, but from what I've seen, they actually hold up really well, especially with high mileage, right? And so that's the other part of it, right? You're paying for a product you know is going to last for a bit longer. And so, like I said, I feel like it's different buyers. This is like value for options, and this, again, this still has a very nice interior. It's got like the nice, again, the wood trim, the leather seats and everything. It's a nice place to be, but it's just, again, it's a different theme. So let me know which theme you like best.